Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you, coming at you with more pure yummy, more day one games. I'm recording this on day one of the pack being live, but this will probably be going up a few days afterwards. So yeah, I've been laddering a little bit more with pure yummy and found myself on a 9-game win streak without even really trying. This first game here, I'm going to show you a little bit of an interaction that I've quickly picked up on the couple of times this has happened. So we're starting off with a pretty typical turn one combo line, right? We're going to be leading with the Cookie Yummy into the Yummy Snatchy. We're up against Branded Dracotail, and as you can see, we've actually opened not just one, but both of our field spells in our hand, which is certainly not ideal. The Yummy Snatchy has an effect to activate the field spell from the hand or deck face up on the field. So what I'm actually going to do is, even though I have the Minion in my hand, I'm going to activate Yummy Snatchy effect. As you can see, our Branded Dracotail opponent's going to throw out the effect Veiler, and this of course is exactly why I've done this. So again, I've had this happen a couple of times on ladder, where I'm able to successfully get the opponent to waste a Veiler or Imperm, even though I opened the Minion. So even if this is in your hand, make sure that you're activating the effect of Yummy Snatchy when you go to summon it. I mean, of course, there's no way for my opponent to know that I have the Minion in hand. It's certainly still the right call on their part, for sure, but good way to use up that interaction. Now we can use the Minion, revive the Cookie Yummy, and then Synchro Summon with the Yummy Snatchy in order to go for the Cupsy Yummy way. We still have this Cross-Eyed Designator in hand in case they have Ash Blossom or Droll here, but they're not going to, so we're going to go for Cupsy and Lollipo because I already have Marshmallow in hand. So one thing that you'll want to note is that I actually dumped the other field spell, the Acroquee, off of the Cupsy Yummy effect. But what we can do towards the end of our combo line is we can actually put this back into our deck with the effect here. And we can actually put back one of our Yummy Snatchies that's going to end up in the graveyard, letting us have some turn one recursion. Not something you would always do, but again, I opened with the Acroquee, so I figured I could just discard and then recycle it here. And we do want to end up putting this back into our deck so that we can activate it during our opponent's turn. Now here we're not going to really get the chance to do that because they're going to concede before this turn is over, realizing that I can full combo even through their Veiler, but we'll go ahead and show off the rest of the combo line here. Again, not going for Herald right away, just going into the Camellia first, dumping the Hornet Drones. I actually probably should have just dumped Engage here to add the Hornet Drones. I've been thinking about that recently. There's kind of no reason not to. If your opponent was going to droll you, they would have done it by this point already, right? So here's the Hornet Drones we're going to activate to place on the field. My opponent was getting priority passed to them in this scenario, so I think they were on a Nibiru. But then at this point, when I summoned the Herald or the Arclight, they kind of realized that their Nib wasn't going to really do much for them moving forward anymore. So now we can go for the Surprise, revive the Marshmallow, add back the Surprise, and then Synchro into the Lollipo Yummy way. Of course, you always want to be summoning the Herald before you summon Lollipo, because the best time for your opponent to nib you is going to be after the Lollipo. But again, if you're always summoning Herald first, they won't ever really get that opportunity. So yeah, I was literally just about to set 2 and then pass when my opponent decided to concede here, so yeah, just a pretty standard turn 1 combo line for the pure Yummy. Of course, if you're interested in seeing more combos, definitely check the description below for my combo guide. But again, I wanted to show this game in particular for that very important interaction of, even if you already opened the Minion, you should still definitely be activating the Yummy Snatchy effect. That way, if your opponent's got a Veiler or Imperm, they will throw it out. Alright, let's go and take a look at our next game. Alright, here we have a going second duel against Primite Blue Eyes, and this of course will showcase more of our yummy OTKs. It is trivially easy to OTK in this deck, and as a result, it tends to be pretty easy to push through something like Maxi or Fulos for an OTK as well. So they're going to lead with the Lordly Load, trying to activate to add. I'm going to activate Dominus Purge here. Definitely am not afraid of doing this because I have the Maxi, Ash Blossom, and Fuwa in hand. One thing that's important to note about Dominus Purge, of course, is always that it locks you out of Dark, Water, and Fire. And if you look at our extra deck, you'll notice we have more than our fair share of Dark, Water, or at least Dark and Fire. Well, we have a Water monster in here too. But Purge isn't really that bad to use going second because, again, we're just going to be going for our OTK anyway, and that just takes all light effects. So I'm going to purge the Lordly Load ad here. Oh, and by the way, the reason that I purged not Ash Blossomed on top of... well, I guess not on top of locking us out. There would be a reason not to do it. But the main reason you want to purge here and not Ash Blossom is one, to use Ash Blossom against Max C during your turn at, any real timing. And two, purge, of course, cannot negate effects that summon monsters from deck or send cards from the deck to the graveyard, which Ash Blossom can do. So as they go to use their Lordly Load here, I'm going to throw out not only the Fulos, but also the Max D. Basically cycle them for 2 more cards. Our opponent wasn't going to get any more effects of special summoned monsters this turn anyway, so it's not like these are really ending the opponent's turn. We're basically just, again, cycling them for new cards. In this case, Droll and Cookie Yummy. Crossout Designator is a great pickup. It means we don't really have to fear Max C. Unfortunately, our opponent here did not know to save their Veiler for the Yummy Snatchy. Excuse me. If they had used Veiler on the Yummy Snatchy, then we wouldn't really be in that bad of a spot. Granted, of course, we still need the Mignon to be able to OTK and extend, but since I have Lollipo Yummy in hand, I could have special summoned it, gone Snatchy plus Lollipo into Cupsy Yummy Way to add Marshmallow and Cupsy, and then Cupsy would have just added the Mignon at that point. It would have meant we would have had the Yummy Surprise, but that's definitely fine. Now here, of course, our opponent doesn't have a monster in defense mode, so we're gonna need 5 Yummy names in total, not just the 4. It's any 4 Yummy names attacking directly to OTK, because they all get 500 attack times the number of Yummy monsters in play. One very important thing to note about Yummy's Surprise is that the monster special summoned cannot attack directly this turn. So we summoned this Cookie Yummy. We're going to want to use that in order to battle over the Blue Eyes here. And then, yep, we have 4 Yummy monsters, which means they can swing in for a total of 8k, even if they started with 0 attack points like Cupsy Yummy and Cupsy Yummy Way. Remember, they each get 500 points times the number of Yummy monsters on the field. So with each of them getting a 2,000 point buff, you'll always have at least 8,000 points of damage. So there we go, a pretty simple going second game. That's how a lot of yours are going to play out. And again, that's why Purge really is not that big of a deal to lock you out of those Dark Water and Fire effects. Of course, on turn 1 it wouldn't be ideal, but going second, we're just going to OTK them anyway. All right, got a couple more games to check out. Let's go to the next one. Here's another going second duel. This time we're up against Labrynth. I am pretty decently afraid of Dimensional Barrier. It is going to stop you from doing a fair amount of things in this deck, so really hoping they don't flip that up and call Synchro. We've got a pretty solid hand, though. I mean, with 18 hand traps, you're pretty much always going to open multiples, so that's always really nice going second. So here they're going to go Stovey, pitch Arya, set Big Welcome, set 2, and then pass. So here, we top-decked the Ghost Spell, which was an excellent top deck here, as I can use that against the Big Welcome that they're going to shotgun right away. Of course, I was just going to use Ash Blossom, but now if one of the other face-down cards ends up being Welcome Lab, we can just use Ash Blossom against that instead. So, like I mentioned, we're going to chain the Ghost Spell, then we're going to chain the RAS, and I'm just going to throw out Max C. You might be wondering why I don't Fulos here. I actually do still want a card in my hand to discard for the Cupsy Yummy Way, and if I plan on using the Ash Blossom, that really just leaves the Acro-Queen, which is not, like, the worst thing, but I also kind of want to use it to try to pop one of these back rows, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Again, if one of these is D-Barrier, that's not going to be ideal, but yeah, I'm looking to have this to discard, plus I don't really think they're going to use Welcome here anyway, so... And even if they do, we can just chain the Fulos to it. They're actually going to chain a Maxi from hand, which we can just throw out an Ash Blossom for, so we're good to go here. And I guess I just didn't want to play through all of that, not even waiting to see if I had full combos. So the end of that resulting chain link would have been, of course, Ash Blossom would have negated their Maxi, and then Ghost Spell would have negated the Big Welcome on top of Arias coming back from the graveyard, and then I would have gotten 1 draw off of Maxi. So they would have still had their 2 other face-down cards. I'm guessing they just weren't that good in this scenario, but I kind of wish our opponent would have conceded so early to have a bit of a chance to try to play through that. But a little bit of a quick going second game there. I got one last going second duel for us to finish off with. And it's going to end up being against White Forest Azamina. Definitely going to be a more back and forth going second game, despite how it's going to look in a couple of moments. So, they're going to be taking the first turn, opening multiple hand traps again, because we're on 18 in a 40 card deck. I think this is the big advantage of Pure Yummy over Mitsurugi in Master Duel Ranked Ladders specifically. Like in Best of 1 format, being able to have so much room for this amount of off engine is just absolutely wild. Alright, so they're going to lead with Hollowed Azamina, Chain Wanted. We're going to throw both Maxi and Fulos into the mix there. They're going to add the Diabell Star of Vengeance. And then Synchro Summon for the Ilia Sylvia. Makes sense, of course, they would want to get the most amount of negates possible for the least amount of draws possible on my end. They're also going to normal summon Sylvie in order to add and then set woes before passing it back over to us. Alright, so draw phase, I'm going to throw out the Fua because I know they have the woes face down. I just want to see if they'll chain it right off the bat. Couldn't get them to. Plus, I wanted to, of course, make sure we use the Fua before we summoned any monsters. So we're going to Puri Reese map for the Cupsy Yummy. They're going to chain woes here, and then I'm going to throw out the Maxi in response. So we're going to get a lot of draws here, but unfortunately, for a reason you're about to see, it's not going to super duper matter here. So first summon gives us Cookie Yummy and Ash Blossom. They're going to summon Silvera, and we find another Cupsy and Triple Tack here. We're going to add the Yummy Surprise, and then they are going to, of course, use the Silvera effect to turn my monster face down. So my thought was, okay, no problem. We'll just chain Yummy Snatchy, I can bounce the Cupsy Yummy, and then one of their monsters. And then it'll force out their Ilia Sylvia, I won't have to deal with that, and we should be good to go, right? Well, wrong for multiple reasons. One, Yummy Surprise bounce effect says target 2 light beast monsters you control. That's not up to 2, it's 2. So because I only have 1, I actually can't use that effect. The other thing that's not really ideal here, as you can see, they are going to use Ilia Sylvia to negate the Yummy Surprise. But even my assumption that this would be fine was wrong, because when they turn our Cupsy Yummy face down, now I can't extend into any of my other Yummy monsters in hand. I'm going to triple tack to try to draw 2 and hope I can find something, but nah. Just another Ash Blossom and Imperm. I'm going to have to set Imperm and cross out before passing. So yeah, it's a lot of the same big weakness that Sprite has. If you can answer the initial summon, then you can't really extend. Now, Yummy does have Marshmallow, which if the Cupsy Yummy had been destroyed, I can still special summon and full combo here. But this Book of Moon style effect is going to be one of the most effective against Yummy for this exact reason. With a face down monster on the field, I can't summon Marshmallow Yummy or any of my other extenders from hand. So yeah, they're going to go for the Deception, add back the Hallowed Azamina. I kind of like immediately knew I was pretty screwed here. They can summon out the Ilia Sylvia as their first summon, getting that Omni Negate online to insulate the rest of their combo line. Wanting to draw, I'm not sure if they needed this top deck to find plays, but either way, they are going to get to activate Tails and then add the LZ here. So I figured my only option at this point was to Imperm the Ilia Sylvia and then try to Ash Blossom the LZ, which we are going to be successful in doing, but that's just not going to be enough because, of course, they already still have the Silvera on the field. So they could just normal summon LZ, yep, and then go into the, oh, what do you call her? The, Diabell, of course, how could I forget? Yeah, Diabell, Queen of the White Forest, adding back the Filia Diabell they sent, and they still have the Diabell Star of Vengeance they added earlier, so, yeah, it's pretty Jover at this point. They can even convert the, negated Ilia Sylvia into a Baron de Fleur, which will enable them to have an Omni Negate online. Anyway. Yeah, they can use the Vengeance in order to destroy, summon out the Rasila, they get a search, and they have far more than enough damage on board to finish us off at this point. So yeah, you gotta watch out for those Book of Moon style effects. That is gonna be one of the biggest weaknesses of Yummy, and as you can see, it was sufficient to entirely stop us here, even though we were able to draw 4 cards during our turn off of Fulos and Maxi. Alright, there's going to be the duels. Let me show you the deck list and we'll finish off here. Alright, so here is my pure Yummy list once again. It's the same one from the last gameplay video and pretty much the same one from the combo guide as well. Again, the only very minor difference between this version and the one in the combo guide is a little bit of a difference in hand traps. I took out one Imperm and put in a third Ghost Spell. I know I mentioned it last time, but it really bears repeating here. Ghost Spell, I think, is about to be the MVP of this new format. Very effective against Yummy, also very effective against Dracotail, and of course is useful in a lot of situations against various decks across the meta. Really liking the little consistency buff cards we have as well, the Puri Reese maps as well as the Engage. I think I'm about to go down to one Engage though. That way I can use Camellia to dump Engage and then still Engage add Hornet Drones. If I take out an Engage, I don't know actually, I was gonna say I'll probably just put in a third Puri Reese map, but if we count our total number of starters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I mean, 15 starters is still very sufficient, and I could slot in a 19th hand trap. I don't know, that's actually a scenario where I'd really want to play around with like a statistics calculator in order to really find out what the exact odds look like. But as I mentioned before in one of the replays, on Best of 1 Ranked Ladder and Master Duel, I really like having as many hand traps as possible. And it's one of the reasons why, so far anyway, again, it's still day 1, but so far I've slightly preferred playing Pure Yummy to Mitsurugi. Still gonna experiment a little bit and see which one does end up being stronger, but I think Pure Yummy is definitely a contender for best deck in the meta right now. Extra deck is still the same, again, to show it off in the combo guide. If you're curious about where Tatsunoko and Cupid Pitch come up, those are used on the opponent's turn in order to go into board load Savage Dragon. Again, check out the description below if you're interested in seeing that line played out. But yeah, not really much else to say. I'm gonna go ahead and end off here. Thank you so very much for watching, and let's go ahead and move to the outro where we can give an extra special thanks to our Patreon subscribers and YouTube members. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.